Job Sikhala addresses EU Parliament, citing human rights abuses in Zimbabwe. Right, izvi ndo zvinhu zvinoita kuti zvigananda zviise mabhomba mumotikari dzana Job. One thing that I can say pana Job, although many people have not forgiven him for what happened in the past and so on, but we are human, right? We are human. One thing I like about Job is he has been like consistent. I also like one thing about him, he reaches out, right? He reaches out to the world, and he remains one person arikumbokwanisa kuricha public international public platforms, achikwanisa send out some message on behalf of Zimbabwe, right? Ngikhuluma ngoJob Sikhala ukuthi hayi kulezinye izinto engizithandayo la nxa abanye abantu bengakamxoleli ngezinye izinto ezenzakale ngemuva, kodwa singabantu we have to understand ukuthi hayi akula muntu opperfect, we all are sinners, right? We all make mistakes, we blunder here and there, but into engiyithanda ngoJob Sikhala is he has been consistent, and he reaches out to the world to send out a message, on behalf of the Zimbabwean people in the situation that we face. So we need more people that can access some international, platforms that matter and speak on our behalf. Remember, ukuthi eZimbabwe iproblem esilayo ukuthi sivalwe imilomo ngezanpepa. But problem yedu muZimbabwe ndiye ukuthi maZimbabwe takavarwa milomo nezanu because takatyishidzirwa tikadidi every day we are being threatened, tinotyishidzirwa, tinosungwa, tinoabductwa, tinoitwa sei. Saka fear is now become the disease that majority of our people have. Very few people can still talk. Very few people are at liberty to say out their mind. Saka kana mchitotona tiri pano pa platform, we are a unique species, right? We are unique because we've been the spirit of fear is not in us. At enough fear, we say things just as they are, and we just say, fear is not of God. Fear is of the devil. Isusu takatoibviswa iyoyo. Tinongotaura tinongovaudza zvakananda kuti mazuva enyu asara mana wakomana pachamhanywa zviri legendary, vamwe vachasiya bhutsu mugwenzi ozomhanya kunoudza lulu kuti ndazosvika kunoku but bhutsu yasara mugwizu. So inyaya yekuti these guys, they think kuti evil, they control everything, but they can't. You can never control everything in life. Yes, you can have 1 area, 2 areas, 3 areas you can control, but you can never be in total control of everything. Pane zvimwe zvinhu zvinotongokukurira chete. Pane zvimwe zvinhu chero ukazviti uri shasha yakaita sei, pane zuva raunongosangana neimwe shasha yakapfuura iwewe, right? Kana ufunga kuti wakapenga steering, pane musi uchasangana nedzimwe dzakapenga kupfuura iwewe, ndipo uchazoziva manje kuti haiwa the world yakatakura, nyika yakatakura, right? So that's exactly what is happening. So they will try, Uganda will try to silence Zimbabweans, close all doors, close all gaps. But the truth is, one way or the other, there are areas and other spheres that they can never shut down or totally control. Azviti. Just like you saw what happened in Anasamia. Anasamia Nana Mnangagwa vakadzima internet, right? Vadzima internet and they committed atrocities avakakomita. And then what happened? Vakakanganwa kuti aiwas smartphone inongotora video yochengeta hayo. Yakamirira musi uchatungidza internet. Musi unongotungidza internet chete zvazara. You see? So it's just it's self-defeating. It's just the same, because what you didn't want to be seen and heard and known will still happen in just a click of a finger, and then it happens. So right now, everything that happened by time in the Tanzanian elections is out there in the public domain, right? And vachenuruka manje saka makadzimirei pamakadzima internet hazvina zvazvobatsira. So those are things that they can't control, right? And you cannot switch internet forever. Azviti ichatosvika time yekuswitcha on because my banks has kufunctiona, government ministries hadzisi kufunctiona, my transactions are international has kufunctiona. Imimi as a government munoreceive mari kubva kuna EU nekumadona uko, vanotoda internet iri on for them to send those monies. Munodzida Saka, you see, it's self-defeating. You are shooting yourself in the foot. Saka, eventually, you will still have to switch on internet. Then what you feared most starts to happen. I know I got a job. Other job, what I feared most is what is befallen me. Yeah, saka ukanyanya kuchika chinhu chaunonyanya kuchika icho chinhu chinozokuitikira leyo into oisavayo kakuru into ezakwenzakala at the end of the day. So that's what is happening. So Job remains a powerhouse. He remains a powerhouse, especially in the manner that is able to reach out and send the message of the Zimbabwean people out there. Very, very important, right? I'm not going to be able to play the whole because it's a very long video. I'm not going to be playing the whole of it. I'll just play a portion of it so that you can just hear one or two things of what he's saying.
It was online.
Rights of the European Union Parliament for inviting me to appear before you and make a presentation about my experience as one of those persons who have been beneficiaries of the activities of the Interparliamentary Union when I was being persecuted by the dictatorship and tyranny in Zimbabwe during the period when I was a member of parliament. The issue of human rights abuses that not only myself, but several other political actors in Zimbabwe, including a number of members of parliament, is on public record on how many people have suffered on the hands of the regime in Harare. There are quite a number of many issues which the role the Interparliamentary Union and other international bodies played in protection of those people who have been in occupation of public offices after having been elected to represent the people. It is very saddening to hear the report from the previous speaker that at the present moment there is a global a number of more than 1,000 public officials, including members of parliaments, who are currently whose cases are now being investigated by the Interparliamentary Union. It clearly demonstrates the level of persecution opposition members of parliaments are facing in their countries. The current government in my country has taken extensive measures to restrict political participation in Zimbabwe. Democratic advocates are facing significant challenges and the lack of safety and security. At the present, they are being subjected to considerable pressure and threats. My persecution by the regime in Harare is well documented. I have been arrested 70 times since I became a member of parliament in the year 2000. Yet none of these arrests resulted in any conviction. I survived several assassination attempts, including a horrendous torture, which I suffered in March 2003. During all these arrests, I would be tortured, battered, denied food, denied basic universal human rights, such as to be visited by my family, friends, and colleagues. Observer missions carried out by international important bodies, such as the Interparliamentary Union. During the period of my previous persecution, and court trials attested to what I have gone through, the Interparliamentary Union showed ongoing support not just when they send an observer team led by Justice Abdul Raham Kani from Botswana to monitor the forced trial I faced during my lengthy pre-trial detention under Zimbabwe's current regime. They also strongly opposed the torture I suffered on the 3rd of March 2003. My picture is publicly displayed at the headquarters of the Interparliamentary Union in Geneva, describing in detail the torture I went through. I was in tears when I visited the IPU headquarters in May 2024. Soon after my release from persecution back home, when I visited the IPU Secretary General to see my pictures of torture being among many members of parliaments who have gone through similar trials and tribulations displayed at the headquarters.
Oh, right. This is sad. This is sad. This is. I don't think I can continue. Let me end here. At least ndanda kupromisa kuti ndichangokupai just a snippet. But this is what we face. Ndokwatiri kurarama kwacho. Tiri mune world of our own. World isina anybody who comes for us. Nobody cares. It seems like the world will be, going on in a business row, and nobody cares. Kuti Zimbabwean people are being subjected kuzvinhu zvinotyisa. Ungani umhlaba uqhubekela nje phambili nje ngomsebenzi wawo bengelani ngitsho ndaba lokuthi kuyini okwenzakala kwabanye abantu especially abafana lathi thina amaZimbabweans. I-life yethu sibili is life expectancy sibili singayikhangelisisa eZimbabwe. It's almost close to some hours. In Zimbabwe, I think life expectancy should be hours because you can die anytime. Out of the many things besides the state-sponsored things, you can also die from funny things like these accidents that are man-made and diseases that are just because of negligence and negligent government and so on. This is what it is to be African. This is what it is to be black and to be Zimbabwean. Kuti isusu on our own as Zimbabwean people, we are failing. We are failing as Zimbabweans to live together. Just to share what God has given to us. God has bestowed our country. And our country, with so much mineral resources, our country actually is counted in the whole world as one of the tiny but very rich nations. But we are failing to sit down and share as brothers and sisters and simply share what God has blessed us with. Imagine such a blessed country, we are failing to manage the blessing that God has given to us. In Zimbabwe, it is possible. In Zimbabwe, it is possible to give every citizen $1 million. It's possible. If we look at 16 million Zimbabweans that we have, right? It's possible to give every Zimbabwean $1 million. Very possible. With the monies that ZANU-PF, Gananda, Mnangagwa are looting. Vakanyatsoda kuita a painstaking effort of saying, in the next 10 years, to make a short every Zimbabwean, I want $1 million. It's very possible. But are we able to do that? We are not, because we are simply allowing selfishness and greed to the point we threaten other people's lives. Just this is who we have become. Like we are now in a jungle. Instead of being in a nation, we are now like living in a jungle. And this is not it. This is not the Zimbabwe that we want. And I personally keep praying for Job. I keep praying for him, among other leaders of course, that are still speaking out on behalf of Zimbabwean people. It's not easy as a Zimbabwean to speak out, especially on a world platforms. You become enemy number one and you become targeted, and anything can happen to you at any time. Right now, we are not sure what happened to Job in his last incarceration, if indeed this guy, they did not poison him. Hapana anoziva kuti Job haana kupuwa here kafira mberi kutaura kwatiri kuita kudai. It's a matter of time. But this is the Zimbabwe that we have become because of a generation that has told itself they would never want to hand over the legacy of the land to other generations that come after them. And yet, there are generations that did hand over to them a selfish lot. People that are driven by dark altars. Zimbabwe needs God. That's where you and I come in to intercede for the nation, for God's intervention, so that Zimbabwe can be redeemed and we can be healed as a people. But I can say to you, Zimbabwe, the God we serve does not sleep nor slumber. He does not embark on a journey. When he says his word comes to pass. He has given us his word that your season in Zimbabwe is now, and this is your season. Believe in the Lord your God. Keep his word. Run with the word. It will come to pass. One of these fine days, we shall be singing Hosanna when the Lord has taken us out of captivity.